Ooh, look at your title. I already love it. You guys are great.
Oops. Join in view.
I'm really glad we're having our meeting on a Monday. Monday's my favorite day of the week because I'm a broken person and I just like possibilities. And so this is really great. I've only had 2 meetings before you. So you can really set the bar high.
Thank you.
Oh, Alex, do you want to log out and log back in and see if that'll do it?
Me, Alex? Or?
No, Alexander. Sorry. I called him Alex, but I'm never sure. He just popped in the chat that his audio is not working.
Oh, I see.
But see, it's Alex here, but Alexander in his name box, and I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And I was confusing with 2 of us.
Yeah. I just have a question.
For me or for the team?
From you, just like after finishing my presentation. So can I leave because I have like an appointment with the doctor? So I have to because I'm sick today.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
2 days
If that's
ago.
if that's what you need to do, that's fine by me. It doesn't bother me. If you get your stuff in and have to go, that's totally fine.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah.
The thing we were just talking about, human things happen. We're good.
Thank you.
A good day. All right. Other Alex is coming back yet? No, not yet.
Not yet.
It's okay. Is that me? Am I the excited white one lit up in the middle?
Yes.
Perfect. She just needs red lipstick. Just kidding. Y'all, I'm all over the map today. I will 100% put myself on mute when the presentation starts so that I cannot interrupt. And I'll save all my questions. I'll make notes. I'll save questions. I'll do all the things so that I don't disrupt your presentation because I can when you can feel in yourself, you're like in that place that's tricky. I'm having that right now. You're welcome. For at least.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I'm authentically this today. That's what you guys are getting. All right. Okay, Alex, how's your audio?
Yeah, you guys able to hear me now? All right.
Yeah,
you
you're
see
good.
me too?
We can. Cool. In your skinny box. Okay, I'm going to hit mute. I'm going to let you all take it away, and then I'm going to sit here with my notes until it's time for me to say things. But we are already recording, so you're good to go.
Okay. This is the power of being strategically authentic. I'm Alex Thro.
I'm Yannak.
I'm Madi Beirmann.
Sayed Zabuillah.
I'm Parker Freeman.
And Alex Farrell.
All right, I'll begin by giving a brief intro just to the project that we've been tasked with. Our task was to find nonprofits, 2 for each of us, that fit your beliefs and that we think would potentially work well with strategically authentic. We've tailored our research to nonprofits that are either led by women, work for women, or help others in various areas of social justice. After researching these nonprofits, we put our data, which includes things like location, contact information, recent projects, and then marketing strategies into an Excel spreadsheet. Our final goal was to speed up your researching and contacting processes of new clients. And we hope that our work will make it both easier and more efficient on your part. With that being said, I'll get into how our team conducted it. So we utilized multiple different methods in our research process. The first being the database GuideStar. This database compiles over 1.8 million IRS recognized nonprofits, which proved to be an invaluable tool in our research. Next slide, if you could. And then, okay, so GuideStar's filterable search engine was a big tool for us. It allowed us to narrow down our search by different categories, both locational categories and organizational categories, like the people they serve and what community they serve in. And this helped us to find suitable nonprofits that align with your values. GuideStar allowed us to filter by state and city, and also by their seal of transparency, which indicates their level of transparency to potential donors, their subject area and population served, and then by their level of diversity, like among people who work in that nonprofit. So after selecting the suitable nonprofits from our filtered search, GuideStar provided us with information such as the nonprofit's mission statement, contact information, location, and even its financial information from the last year, which you can see on the right with the gross receipts and assets. While some of this information wasn't incredibly informative, like for example, a lot of the emails that were listed on GuideStar were just like info at whatever the company's name is. But they would link their website on the GuideStar page, which allowed us to do further research on the company. So the second database that our group used was melissa.com, which is also a nonprofit database that allowed us to search for nonprofits using search filters, much like GuideStar. But this database in particular was useful for narrowing down nonprofits by zip code, which was helpful for us to find nonprofits in various different regions and then kind of group them together on a report geographically. So as we found these nonprofits on GuideStar and melissa.com, we also verified their legitimacy. For this, we used the IRS tax exempt organization search, which allowed us to verify an organization's eligibility to receive tax deductible charitable contributions, which indicates that they're a legitimate charity and that they're still operating and everything.
The first nonprofit I'll be talking about is Women Rising. Women Rising is a nonprofit located in Jersey City, New Jersey. They were founded in 1905. Their mission statement is to assist women and families to achieve self-sufficiency and live safe, productive, and fulfilling lives through social services and economic development and advocacy service. They serve an average of 11,480 individuals. They advise over 1,180 women on legal option. They provide 170 families with a safe place to live. They place 150 individuals in jobs and provides counseling services to over 1,500 women and families. They have recently held events such as Cooking with Mommy, Paint and Sip, Mother's Day Foundation event, and they receive help through their volunteer work and donations. The next nonprofit I'll be talking about is the Crossroads for Women. They are located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was founded in 1997. Their mission statement is to empower women emerging from incarceration to achieve safe, healthy, and fulfilling lives in the community for themselves and their children. They provide permanent or transitional supportive housing, therapy, and peer-on-peer services. They combat the cynical nature of the justice system. They value rehabilitation. They have recently held their 7th annual Tea Time with Crossroads and have held ongoing community services. They receive help through their volunteer work, donations, and supply drives.
Thank you for giving me a chance. My name is Sayed Zabuillah. So I searched about the following nonprofit organization. Maggie Women's Research Institute and Foundation is one of the largest nonprofit organization research institute in the United States, which is dedicated for women's health and reproductive biology, from women's control HIV, protection of therapies that could prevent the recurrence of ovarian cancer and impacting lives every day. The organization was founded in 1992, which is located in Pennsylvania. And besides, the organization also advocates for policies to improve the women's health, such as expanding access of the healthcare and increase the funding for women's health research. And the numerous organizations offer a variety of educational programs, opportunity for community engagement, including seminar, workshop, partnership with the community, and at the same time, it's Maggie committed to promoting diversity and inclusion in its research and workforce, with the particular focus on supporting women and minorities in science and medicine. And last but not least, the organization is recognized as a leader in women health research and received the numerous awards. So here's the video, like, can you play that?
Is the link not working?
I'm watching the mouse move around and it's not headed towards the.
You guys can't see the video?
No,
No.
That's a little awkward, all right.
it's okay. You know what? Let's see if I can do it this way. Oh, I would have to type it in. If you put the
So-
link in the chat, maybe I can pull it up on mine and use screen share to just share a separate screen.
How
Oh, there we
about
go.
Oh, there we go.
Now we got it.
Yeah.
You just had to switch out your screens. Okay, great job.
We at McGee Women's Research Institute believe that women's research should be first and foremost instead of an afterthought.
Each group of professionals wakes up every day with different challenges, but a common goal, and that is to improve women's lives and the various conditions that they suffer from.
We have a new therapy that I'm hoping is just a couple of years away from the clinic, which will actually block the metastasis of ovarian cancer and maybe even other cancer types too, as we've started to study its role in breast cancer and lung cancer and colon cancer.
With amniocentesis or chorionic villus sampling, these invasive tests, the risk can be quite significant. So I felt that any risk because of a medical procedure, a diagnostic procedure, was unacceptable. That was really what motivated me to explore alternatives. In this case, it became a blood test that is replacing, has the potential to replace that invasive test.
We are in the process of providing new reproductive options for patients who used to have no options. An example of that is young kids who are receiving chemotherapy or radiation treatments for cancer. Today, we can provide options to preserve the fertility of both young boys and young girls so that after they survive their cancer, they can still realize the dream of having their own family.
My dream for any young woman is that they can walk into a pharmacy and they can buy a product that can protect them from sexually transmitted infections, that can guard their fertility. And my dream is also that a young woman in Zimbabwe or South Africa can also make that journey and select those products.
There's very few people who are fortunate enough to work in a place that can really change the course of health and wellness for humankind. I feel we're one of those.
Okay. The second organization is like In Her Shoes Foundation. The In Her Shoes Foundation, which is began as the Positive Girls Club in 2018 and formed for women all ages to build a strong individual and community relationship in Chicagoland area, and professional development program, giving back initiative, and flagship program Radio Set Girls Academy, and the foundation of strives to create nurturing and positive environment for women and girls, all background to empower them and inspire them to their personal best. And it has over 60 committee, volunteer and executive team of the committee chair working closely to deliver the foundation's program to the local community. And the foundation support and empower the women and girls through education, networking, and mentorship program. In terms of the flowers, the organization has adopted sunflower as its symbol and associated with the positive attributes such as happiness, loyalty, and longevity. So they are also known for their resilience as they can grow in harsh conditions and still thrive. In the context of the In Her Shoes Foundation, sunflower represent the strength and optimism that women can embody when faced with challenges. Thank you.
Okay, so Dirt Coffee was the first nonprofit that I chose. Dirt stands for Divergent.
Hold on, I'm going to pause you for 1 second. I said I wouldn't, but Sayed, congratulations to your student group also on the award I just saw you post about. So I want to say that before you go to your appointment. But I haven't. So well done to all of you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Erika. So I just made it yesterday with a lot of like I had a lot of like pain in my body, but my friends, like my colleagues, they like encourage me, and they come to pick me up and to like I just went for a few minutes to get that award, and then I leave back soon. So
Okay.
thank you very much for that. Yeah,
Yep,
thank
okay.
you. Yeah, best
All
of
right, sorry,
luck
now
for
I'm
you
gonna go
guys.
back on mute. I just wanted to say that in case he
Okay.
was gone.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so Dirt Coffee was the first nonprofit that I chose. Dirt stands for Divergent Inclusive Representation Transforms, and it was founded in 2013. It's not an ordinary coffee bar. It is a Littleton-based coffee bar that empowers neurodivergent individuals within the Littleton community by training and employing them, which is something that is really tough for them. A lot of places are hesitant to offer them jobs. But Dirt is committed to combating the employment disparity for individuals with conditions like autism, Down syndrome, Tourette's, cerebral palsy, dyslexia, and ADHD. People with disabilities are vastly underrepresented in the workforce in America, with only 31.4% of disabled adults being employed, compared to about 73% of adults with no disabilities. So through their coffee bar, Dirt provides a space where these individuals can thrive and contribute to their community in a meaningful way that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And doing this and trying to train these people to be able to run these coffee shops, they've recently been starting to run workshops for neurodivergent individuals. And these workshops teach them work and communication skills, as well as how to respect appropriate boundaries of customers. And also for their fundraising, they hold community raisers through events like trivia nights and art painting socials. They're very involved in their community in Littleton. It's like for festivals or concerts there. They often have a food truck. It's called like Dirt Coffee on the Go, where they go and they sell their coffee to community events. So due to their commitment to further the lives of neurodivergent people and their commitment to their community, we think that Dirt would be a great fit with working with Strategically Authentic. And then my next nonprofit is Partners for a Hunger-Free Oregon, which is dedicated to combating hunger in Oregon. Their vision is an Oregon where everyone is healthy and thriving with access to affordable, nourishing, and culturally appropriate food. So not only just looking to combat hunger, but they're trying to make sure that the people dealing with hunger get the right nutritional supplements in order to be healthy. They're also dedicated to lowering the Black hunger rate specifically, because in Oregon it's 11.2% compared to only 4% in the white population in Oregon. So it's a big disparity there. And they understand that hunger is a complex issue to solve. So they work closely with community partners, government agencies, and other stakeholders to develop and implement programs that address the root cause of hunger. It's not just a problem of scarcity, but also of access and affordability. So in combating this, they raise awareness about hunger. They connect people to nutrition resources around cities in Oregon. And they advocate for change at the political level by advocating for certain bills to get passed through the state Senate. Recently, the bill that they've been advocating for is Senate Bill 610, which is known as the Food for All bill. And they've actually organized like their own kind of day of advocating for this bill called the Food for All Oregonians Advocacy Day. So they like went to the courthouse and kind of pitched this bill and argued for its benefits. And I know it passed on the state Senate level. I think it still needs to pass through another level somewhere, but it's on the right track right now, at least. They've also recently, I think starting in COVID, they've started to hold virtual town hall sessions for individuals that qualify for SNAP, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And in these town hall sessions, they're open to anybody who qualifies for this. They allow these people to speak their minds about the program, give their pros and cons, complaints if they have any suggestions for it. It just allows like an underprivileged part of the community who doesn't often have a voice to be able to speak their minds in a public forum. So due to their commitment to fighting hunger within their community, as well as giving underrepresented groups a space to share their thoughts, we think that Partners for a Hunger-Free Oregon would be a great fit in working with Strategically Authentic.
All right. The first nonprofit I selected was Why Not Prosper Incorporated. I felt they would work well with Strategically Authentic because they were founded by a formerly incarcerated woman, and they seek to battle the cycle of reincarceration and address daily challenges faced by ex-inmates. They do this by providing a continuum of services, including work and housing programs, as well as classes where attendees can learn life skills that will help in searching or keeping a job. Some of the recent projects that Why Not Prosper has completed include delivering love bags to local inmates, which are little goodie bags that contain food, clothing, and different hygiene items, as well as providing and promoting 41 separate events to help encourage the Philadelphia community to get vaccinated and boosted for COVID-19. I believe this organization will work well with Strategically Authentic, given Dr. Michalski's previous work with incarcerated people. Additionally, the firm's dedication to rehabilitation over reincarceration aligns with the values of Strategically Authentic. Moving on, my next nonprofit was Bold Futures. Bold Futures is dedicated to serving the people of New Mexico through place-based organizing, policy change, research, and has operated in these fields for over 20 years. Most notably, the firm seeks to create equality for all women and people of color in New Mexico. Some recent endeavors taken on by Bold Futures include the Heart of New Mexico podcast, which is used to discuss the challenges faced by the community and how to address them. The firm is also sponsors research in areas like pregnancy and reproductive health, which they then publish the findings for free online for any to read. Finally, Bold Future promotes and helps to pass legislation, like most recently SB 10, which allows trained professionals in New Mexico to perform abortions on any woman seeking one, regardless of their state of origin. For these reasons, I believe Strategically Authentic and Bold Futures would make an excellent pair to combat the systematic oppression faced by women every day. All right, I actually have a third nonprofit, which is the Wisconsin LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce. It is located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is an affiliate of the National LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce. The organization's primary goal is to build a strong and welcoming business community. Some of the services the firm provide include an entrepreneurship boot camp aimed at helping LGBTQ and ally community members who want to start or advance their own business. They also provide a business leadership academy, which is an interactive 10-month experience that develops and strengthens the skills of existing or emerging LGBTQ and allied leaders in the workplace. Finally, the firm ran a Welcoming and Inclusive, or the WI campaign, which helps spread awareness of LGBTQ and ally-owned businesses by encouraging and the providing of WI window decals. Given these factors and the firm's values of equality and social progress, they would be an excellent partner to work with Strategically Authentic.
All right, so the first nonprofit I'd like to introduce you to is the Zonta Foundation for Women, and they are a nonprofit who focuses on women empowerment through education, training programs, campaigns, events, and scholarship opportunities. They're a pretty big organization, and they're in 35 different countries at this point. Their mission is to be a recognized leader in the global movement for gender equality, and the foundation is working on many current projects. One that I liked, it was in Illinois, it's called the Love Purse Drive. They've been collecting purses from angel donors, like women who have a lot of purses, and handing them out full of like essential items for women to help them out. And another one of their current projects is the Zonta Women in STEM Scholarship that they offer. In pretty much every different location and district they offer a scholarship programs for young women to help them and help them through school. And so they have many areas of focus, but they're located pretty much everywhere, like I said. So Erika, you could find like a certain locality to work with or attempt to reach high up in the organization to connect with more clients, because like their size, there's a lot of like opportunity to expand Strategically Authentic into them and help more women. And then the second initiative that I found is called the Red Tent Women's Initiative, and it's located in St. Petersburg, Florida. And this initiative was started in 2012 at the Pinellas County Jail by Barbara Road. And they work to offer incarcerated women and at-risk women to keep them out of jail, kind of like the same as Parker's organization did. And they their goal is to reach every single prison and person possible, with the focus on those who will be soon released, so to ensure that they don't end up back in prison. And actually, 76% of the women who participate in the Red Tent Initiative don't go back to jail. So it's been good for them because their reincarceration rates were only at 24% compared to the national rate of 56%. So that's a big jump for that one singular county. And they're working on a project right now that I really liked, and I think would be a big interest for Strategically Authentic, was Project Redirect, which just began in December of 2022. It's a diversion program. So it's making sure like non-violent first-time offenders don't end up back in jail. And it's offered to them by a judge or by like the public defender's office, kind of like as an alternative to going to jail. And this program works to identify the trauma symptoms and behaviors that cause the substance abuse and cause them to end up there in the first place, and to like reframe like their past events by doing cognitive behavioral therapy, and to develop tools that help them seek employment more successfully after the program. And these programs actually save our community a ton of money, just because it's super expensive to house people in prison systems. And if we can have more programs like this around the country, we could end up saving the taxpayer a ton of money. And I think this would be a good fit for Strategically Authentic, because they provide services to these disadvantaged women, and their classes like could also benefit from the services that Strategically Authentic and Erika would provide to them.
Alex, I'm pretty sure this one's still you.
I don't think it was, but
all right, well, I'll do it. So another foundation that we had was the Women's Foundation of the South. It's located in New Orleans, Louisiana. They're dedicated to the prosperity of women in the southern U.S., and they provided resources for women of color to overcome unique challenges. They help to fund other women-focused nonprofits across the South. I remember when looking into this organization, I saw that there were state-specific women's foundations that they helped to fund in states like Texas, New Mexico. So they work to empower women and provide opportunities to women of color. And they invest in education and leadership programs for members of minority groups. That's all I found.
Okay, so my first organization was Community Women Against Hardship. It's based in St. Louis, Missouri, and it's a volunteer-based organization. Community Women Against Hardship is dedicated to providing personalized programs and services to enable low to moderate families struggling with poverty. The non-for-profit strives to become a respected national model for helping families becoming more self-sufficient and moving out of poverty. They provide basic needs to women and children, such as donated clothing, food, and household items that members of the St. Louis community donate to them. They also offer various educational and developmental programs and workshops to parents and children, such as how to manage your money and how to apply for certain governmental programs to help them. Their recent program was basically the same thing. They just did a huge donation, and they just sent that out to the community to help the people who they're working with, and they help out with about 20 communities in St. Louis. And then the Women's Foundation of Greater St. Louis, again, is a change agent in the St. Louis region. It was founded by a group of St. Louis women with an abundance of energy and passionate commitment to improving the lives of women in the St. Louis region. They describe themselves as a catalyst for workplace, individual, and policy change that advances women's economic success. Recently, they have been moving their focus on economic improvement and have been leading the way for prioritization of grant making in St. Louis. And they've also continued to develop in new and exciting ways by incorporating the pursuit of long transformative change in these women and engaging more people and citizens in the diverse community. Their areas of workplace that they mostly focus in is obviously workplace, and they do efforts to educate and incentivize employers to improve their policies and practices for their female employers. They do it individually through grant making and nonprofit partnerships, and they support the individual women in need of assistance as they navigate their own economic journeys. And they do it also through policy, and they try to mobilize community members to advocate for local and statewide policies to expand jobs and fair wages and support working families. And their goal is just to create fair and equitable community in which all women can achieve their goals. So we have 3 recommendations for you based off of our research. Our 3 recommendations will provide you with different forms of communication, and it also will allow you to examine the risk and reward for each. We just want to make sure that you can allocate less time and resources into the research process. So the first recommendation we have for you is to set up customized emails or video conferencing to learn about each organization on a deeper level, and then you can begin to tailor your services for their needs. This will again help you establish a relationship with the client early on, and you can implement this by taking our information that we set up for you on the Excel spreadsheet and creating a customized email, and then off of that, meeting virtually within a meeting with them face-to-face to continue to build that relationship. Our second recommendation is to host a networking event. This again would give you the opportunity to meet face-to-face with them, but on a deeper, more meaningful level. You can do this by, of course, asking the organizations that we've already contacted for you, but also asking them to bring a +1 so you get more organizations who are coming. This will reduce the workload that you have in finding new clients, and it'll cut down on the time required for research. And you can do this by thinking about the correct format of the event, creating tailored promotional materials, and having participants register in advance. And also with all of our organizations being spread out over the country, finding like a good middle meeting spot where they all can travel to. And then our last recommendation is to expand your business. You can establish communication and uncover potential business opportunities outside of your already established clientele of business. You can schedule several meetings over the course of a business trip and have extensive knowledge of all the organizations you'll be meeting with. So example, if you want to do a business trip to the Midwest, you could hit all of the organizations in St. Louis and Kansas. You can kind of break it up and just go across the nation. In the future, you could also consider expanding your business to find a team of people to help you research these organizations. This can aid in providing new areas to do business in, and again, providing you more efficiency. This expansion could just be between 1 to 2 people, since I know you like to keep things small, just someone who can help you on the back end of that while you can work on building the relationships with your clients and having more time with them instead of focusing on research. And then,
sorry, Matt.
No, you're good. And then the implementation of that is just finding someone who you trust and who you can work with, and just starting small and spreading out, and also contacting the organizations in advance and asking if you can go and see their sites.
Okay. Moving on to opportunities. Working with the team, Strategically Authentic has had new opportunities made available to them. I've listed 3 that I felt were the most prevalent. The first of these opportunities is the chance to build relationships or do business with the organizations researched by the team. Secondly, the team's work can be continued by researching and adding to the database of potential clients. And you could do this by yourself, or like Madi said, even hiring 1 or 2 people to continue our work as well. Finally, the research provided by the team can be expanded on. And to do this, Dr. Michalski or another team member can uncover information like awards, commendations, or other facts that may be specific to the firm to help you connect and really establish a good connection with the new clients.
Every project is going to have its challenges and limitations. With our team, the 2 main challenges and limitations we faced were time management and communication. With time management, it has unprepared for certain projects and due dates. This caused us to have short time to finish these and not to allow us to have a backup plan in case anything was going to go wrong. Our biggest problem was our miscommunication. There's constant moments of miscommunication with the team and Strategically Authentic. Originally, the team was doing more work trying to contact these nonprofits when that wasn't needed. Instead, we were trying to do data mining. This moments of miscommunication create a different idea with us, and then also had moments where there was uncertainty and unclarity with us and Strategically Authentic. Luckily, throughout the semester, our group got together and worked through these challenges and limitations.
All right, and wrapping it up, it's been an honor to be a part of this group and everything throughout the semester. And we're committed in connecting these nonprofits that share your values, Erika, and promoting social reform for women. It is clear that these nonprofits are making a significant impact in the lives of women globally, and their dedication to improving the status of women through education, training, and advocacy is truly remarkable in a lot of these scenarios. So our aim was to find these organizations that work to impact the progression of social equity and the rights of women and connect them to the core values of Strategically Authentic and make sure that they align with those core values. And we believe that these efforts will help us achieve this goal and contribute to the greater good. And so a few suggestions for the future and where we should take this going after the presentation is we should continuously evaluate and assess the effectiveness of this approach and adjust our strategy as it is needed to maximize our impact and achieve our desired outcome. And I was also thinking we could consider, or Strategically Authentic could consider expanding research into nonprofit organizations that are not focused solely on women's rights values, and also maybe like stuff for like children and helping disadvantaged like areas of kids, like, and something like along those lines. And yeah, so that's about it for my suggestions. And so thank you for allowing me to share our group's vision and mission with you. And we are excited about the opportunities that lie ahead and where this takes us, and we are committed to continuing to making a difference. And we hope Strategically Authentic is able to connect and help support these initiatives and help spread the word about their vital work. Thank you. That's all I got.
Okay. That's it. I also wanted to say thank you for the opportunity, and working on this project actually allowed me to connect with the 2 firms that I chose, and I've made donations.
Hey, that's awesome.
So yeah, I really appreciated this.
Okay, well, I have notes and questions, but I want to start by saying great job. Parker, do you want to stop sharing the screen? Because then everyone's boxes just get bigger and I can see faces better. So if you, yeah, now I can see you. Hello, friends. Okay. Great. effort. Thank you. I think as a client, my first thought as I sit here is like, okay, so then when I get the Excel spreadsheet and the slideshow and what have you, I think for me, it's sort of like, okay, so there are a lot of really great choices. Where would I start? So that's a great feeling to have. I wasn't sitting there going, okay, well, there's only one that I can actually follow up with. So I want to start by saying, yeah, this is what I was hoping for, was things that make sense. I will say I learned things from you all today. I did not know that there was a national LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce situation. So I will do, from a national perspective, some research on that, but having that pulled in for the Wisconsin one, Parker, that was you, right?
Yeah.
So that was really great because I just didn't know that concept existed. I probably should by now, considering the DEI work that I do. So thank you for teaching me that today. Also, I'm like a little obsessed with dirt because I love Littleton as a town. So I'm really excited to follow up with them because I'm in Littleton at least once a month anyway. So I'm very excited that there's something that I can drive to on the list.
Yeah.
So that was really great. I really liked the intentionality of not just, well, first of all, Glassdoor is great, but has its limitations, which you guys brought up, but between Glassdoor and was it melissa.com?
Melissa.com. It was melissa.com and GuideStar.
I mean, yeah, not Glassdoor. Cool. GuideStar, the one, but good work on being intentional about finding resources that could help you out. I'm not sure if you got some input from other folks on where to look. I know in one of our calls, maybe Alex, it was you that brought up GuideStar that somebody was like, oh, I found this organization. So good on you for doing that research too, from a client perspective. If this was competing, right? Because that's part of it, is in theory, you guys might be competing to get a bid, to continue being a part of a project or whatever. If this was a competing bid situation, going outside of finding those resources is really helpful. So, and good for noticing that some of them certainly have limitations, but you did your best with what you had. So that's good. But I appreciated beyond that intentional choice to do the IRS verification. It just tells me as a client, you care that I want to work with nonprofits, right? Like that. So that's I want to help you understand that the message that sends is actually really, really powerful. And I don't know if you necessarily intended for that, but that's what happens when you say, hey, we did this and we did this one extra piece because we understand what's important to you. So I feel like you all were clear on what mattered to me as a client and to the work that I do with my business. So thank you for paying attention to that.
Thank you.
Also was not that there's anything wrong, but was not necessarily prepared for the amount of connections to organizations affiliated with incarceration stuff, but I just wasn't an area that had necessarily crossed my mind. So that really invites me to think differently in some other ways. So along with looking at the national LGBTQ chambers and local ones as well, thinking about sort of supporting the incarceration population is really great. So thank you for that. Just very much had not, when you're one person, you just can't have all the thoughts. I think that's the most powerful thing. And I know I told you on our last call, like, I really do plan on using all this. It's because I can't do everything. And so this is tremendously helpful. I wanted to highlight a couple of things because you said them, and I just want to make sure you understand what they mean just for your own. So this is going to be like a teeny tiny, I'm still also a person who cares about learning for other people. So when we're talking about culturally appropriate food in the food bank, Alex, that was yours.
Yes.
So one thing to understand is what organizations that are doing that have culturally appropriate food is they're looking at their local population and saying, hey, we have 47% of our constituents are Hispanic. Let's make sure we're not just giving them boxed macaroni and cheese so that they can honor their heritage in that space. And that's a big deal. And so food banks are moving in that direction. And some of them are also helping folks learn how to cook food outside their culture if they do have those things. So that's more than just like nutrition, it's honoring someone's existence. And so that's really, really powerful. So that was mentioned, and I just want to highlight in case you're not familiar with conceptually what's going on there. It's an intentional effort to source donations that serve the specific populations instead of just saying, we go to the local school. And they probably do this too, but you do the can drive at school and everyone takes in 12 cans of tuna, which is fine, but there are other things. So I wanted to bring that up because I think it's really important. Something else that was on my list. I have 1,000 notes. A lot of them are just for me to sit with. Oh, I really like that idea, Maddie, that you referenced of the +1 too, like to do networking. For me, what would likely happen is rather than invite folks to all come to a location, nonprofits are super stingy with travel dollars in particular. So what would happen is I would just pick a location, right? Like, so I would go to Milwaukee and do some stuff in that area. But that idea of reaching out to a couple and then having them all bring a +1 is super smart. And I think in my head, maybe I would have come up with that, but also maybe not. So now that I have it on my list and in the slide deck, I think it was in the slide deck too. So I think that's really a helpful, and if it's not in the slide deck, surely it's in the final report too.
Yeah.
But that's a really good, like, the ROI is pretty great, right? Because it costs me $0 to say, hey, bring another person. Well, that's not true. I have to pay for whatever I'm doing at the end. But on the whole, it really is, the ROI on that is really great. So I think that's an excellent recommendation, in particular for some organizations. It may not be as like useful per se because they're bigger and they can do prospecting differently. But for someone like me, that is, so if you're working with small organizations, that's super smart. So yes to that was great. Oh, just a note on women in STEM, just because I like to talk about it. The reason we need more women in STEM is not just about representation. It is because literally from a neuroscience perspective, as a reminder, this is what I lecture on, this is what I give keynotes on. I'm giving a keynote later this week on neuroscience. Women think through problems differently. And so if you want more solutions in science, you want different solutions in science, if scientists are hitting walls, it's because it's a room full of men. And I love men. I'm married to a tremendous science man. But when there are women invited into the conversation, the way that they process the data that's available to them is different. And so we can expedite solutions when we make sure that there is diversity, not just of women, but of all points of diversity and inclusion, because different cultures think differently. So that's why those things are important. It's not just like put women in the room. It's what's the value of having these other thought processes. So I just wanted to include that because I think it's sometimes the value of certain things get lost, and the value of all people being able to do whatever job they want is really important. But some of it is like from a practical standpoint, it actually makes a huge difference when you have females contributing to some of these solution-oriented spaces, professional spaces, because they literally do think through things differently. Research tells us this consistently. It's from an evolutionary perspective. It's because of what we were doing while you all were doing the other things. Maddie and I were doing different things. So our brains are wired to do things differently. Okay. Will you do me one favor? And then I have one question for everybody. Before you send me the slide deck, will you make sure that you all put your names on the ones you did? A couple of you did and a couple of you didn't, which is okay. But that way when I'm giving my feedback, and I have notes, but that way when I give it, because I get the like thing to give you all your feedback and stuff, I will remember who did what. So that will be helpful. Just put it like on the bottom. Or if you just want to put it on this, if you're like, I like my slides out there, just put it on the spreadsheet somewhere, just so I know how to connect who with stuff. And I know you sort of maybe looked at each other's stuff, but whoever at least presented it and was like the main owner of the group of that project or that organization, that'll be helpful. Doesn't matter to me because you're not fighting for this project as a client. But one thing, if you have to do projects like this in the future, I think some of you are thinking about going into marketing space. So if you have to do these types of things in the future, before you give a presentation, do a quick double check, because some of your slides were all caps, some of your slides were capital first letter. So like just from a font perspective, there were some inconsistencies. And so what that tells a potential client is, man, they just put this together or they just finished it and they didn't give themselves enough time to proof it, which may or may not be true on a class project, which is why to me it doesn't matter. But from a learning perspective, if you go back and look, some of you did all caps the whole slide and some of you did not. Just pick one and be consistent and make sure someone goes through to edit that so that it doesn't look like, oh man, they probably just put their slide, everyone just emailed their slides at 8 a.m. for a 9 a.m. presentation. You never want it to feel that way, even if it's true, right? Like that's how you protect yourself from that being true, okay? Okay, my question for you all is, what are 2 things you will take from this process in whatever direction you're going next? So what did you get from it? Besides Parker donating, which I love. That makes my heart happy.
I was going to use that one.
I was just going to say overall, the importance of data mining and everything that goes into it, because it really like opened my eyes to that it's not just a company, it's not just like a body of text, it's not just an organization, but there's a lot more to it, and trying to actually connect and understand the organizations.
And hoping that the organizations are accurate in their representation, because you all don't have to do the next piece, which is sometimes find out that they have a really good PR campaign and really terrible internal policies. So I find that out sometimes with my work too, is that their website says they believe in and value these things. And then when I meet their people, they're like, yeah, we're treated like crap. So I have to look for what to do next there.
For me, I think initially going into this project, I thought it would be like a lot of the rest, where it's more so just show up to class, do your part of the project, and then get the grade.
Yeah.
But with this one, I feel actually prepared to go out and do actual marketing work, or at least data mining after this. And a lot of the challenges that we faced through the semester definitely gave me a better understanding of some of the challenges I'll probably face when I get into the workforce.
Yeah. Creating a system to standardize communication will really help you from an internal group standpoint. And I know you kind of had that, but really reinforcing that will help everyone. If it's like Monday at 8 a.m., this is the email I'm prepared to send out, or, as those things. I never necessarily felt like I was in the dark, but I understand that there were times where it was like, oh, none of us know what's going on, or Erika doesn't know what's going on. So you all did a great job rebounding. At no point was I like, man, how do I pick a new group? So please know that that was never on my list. I was confident in you all the whole time, because you owned your stuff, which I think is really helpful. You owned it and said, for right now, this is our solution because something's happening and we're going to calibrate and fix internally. So that takes a lot of humility, especially when you're students and you're like trying to get a grade and trying to do all those things. I mean, it takes humility when you're professionals, I guess, too, but being able to say, hey, this is not working and we don't want to let you down, so we're going to change to make sure we don't do that. That's a really great message to send. So hopefully you all learn from that. When you get the interview question about group projects or challenges or whatever for whatever you're doing next, that's a great thing to reference. Like, hey, I was on this group project. This wasn't working. We made a change and we openly admitted to the client that we needed to make the change. Anyone who can talk eloquently about that in an interview, for me, gets for sure bonus points. So
I think
thank you.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
I think for me, it was just like learning the communication between obviously the group members, because I didn't know any of them coming in, but also learning to communicate with you, the client, because that's something I hadn't done a lot of, is sending out emails and creating presentations and doing stuff on that business side of the communication. So that was, for me, it was interesting to learn. So now I can take that into my internship.
awesome.
Yeah, mine was
Go ahead.
basically the value of our planning and how we went about it, and collaboration with each other and with you, Erika, and making sure that everything, when we had that hiccup about thinking that we had to reach out ourselves,
Oh, yeah.
if we would have
I still
clarified
feel really
that.
terrible about that, by the way. I'm glad we solved that before anyone spent too much energy down that path.
Yeah, I feel like that's all has helped a lot and everything, and learned about the nonprofits, of course, too, and the work that they do, and how the values and goals align and everything.
There's a lot of opportunity in the nonprofit space, but I think because it starts with nonprofit and people think that that is not lucrative, they don't realize that they might go into that. So that's another thing, is just the awareness of that. I do want to give you all another compliment. I appreciate wholeheartedly that my values, probably my political affiliation, all of that is probably pretty transparent with how I show up in social media, how I show up in these meetings, what my website looks like, et cetera, et cetera. You can probably peg me. You don't necessarily have to align with a client to do good work for them. And so regardless of what you all do when you go to the ballot box and what you all do with your money and what you do, and all that stuff, at no point did I feel like I was a problem because of how I exist or my work in the company. So I do want to commend you for that, because that is hard to do sometimes, to say, for some of you, you may have had to put stuff on slides that you're like, man, I do not agree with this, or would not support this, or wouldn't want to do this work. But it wasn't about you, in that way. And so I do appreciate that, because it could be really easy to be uncomfortable if you are very passionate about things that are on a different side of the spectrum than perhaps where I sit. So I do want to commend you on that as well. So good work on that. Kind of having a good professional poker face is helpful. in
Yeah,
this.
thank you.
Thank you.
And again, if you interview for things, you can say, hey, look, I had this crazy social justice, feminist, liberal woman client, and I don't align with those things. And I was able to, although you don't want to talk about politics in a job interview, but you can say, I had a client who was transparently affiliated differently than I might be and was able to still provide good work for her. So if that is something that was true for you, I want you to know that you can leverage that also when you're looking at interviews and those kinds of things to be able to say without giving away where you sit or stand. I've had to work with someone who I philosophically disagree with and was able to still provide high quality content for that person based on what they wanted and needed for the project. So file that away if you need it as well. Do you all have any other things that you need from me before I hit end so that we can get the recording? And I will email it to probably all of you. I think I have an email that has all of you, or I'll email the Google Drive to someone, whoever shows up first in my thing. It's probably Parker because you're the last person who sent me an email. So if I send you the Google Drive link, you can just pull it off of there. It's going to be a large enough file that I probably won't leave it sitting there for very long. So I'll send it to you here as soon as we're done. And then like by tomorrow morning, can I pull it? Is that okay?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay, cool. Do you all have anything else that you need from me or any questions? But really a good job. I hope that you had, even if you don't have the same alignment, I do hope it was meaningful to do this and to think about research in a different way. Data mining is a wild thing, and I don't know that we always teach you all how to do it well. It's hard to teach without just having you do it. But it is tremendously important in it. And I do appreciate the effort that you all put in and look forward to spending some time trying to figure out how to craft some messaging to specific entities, thanks to the work that you did. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
yeah. And if you all need anything, I've said this in the last group, I'll say this. If you need anything after class is over, please don't hesitate to reach out if there's something that you're like, hey, I saw that you were doing this. Tell me more about that. Or if you want to learn about life as a consultant, I'm happy to tell you whatever you want. So please don't feel like you aren't allowed to ask further questions or stay connected in whatever way makes sense for you, if that's a thing for you. So also that.
Can I ask, what's your dog's name in the background?
Oh, that's Herbert.
Herbert's a cute boy.
Well, it's a female dog, because life is weird when you have kids and they get to name things. Why would and my daughter always says, it says her right in the name. Why do people think it's girl? There is a Curious George movie about Halloween, and the main character is Herbert Nenninger, this fictitious haunted scarecrow. And so we are Halloween people, and our dog is named after Halloween icon at the time when we got her 4 years ago. So that is Herbie for short, and she's awesome. She's probably going to start snoring in a minute because we took a long walk this morning.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, if you need anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am truly impressed. I appreciate being your client. I feel grateful that I got this team, whether you wanted to be a part of this project or not. At no point did I feel like you didn't find it valuable, and that is really great, and I appreciate it.
No, thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
All right.
Forward
Bye.
working with you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
Thanks.
day.
You too.